Welcome everybody. We're going to be talking about a very small topic, probably take 2 minutes, anger and resentment. So that's kind of like, my objective is to paint a little different perspective on how to approach that. But first of all, under addiction, I believe that there are three basic core things. There's hurts, there's hates, and there's secrets. Another word for hates are resentments. It's a big deal. It's something that goes on the inside that even though you're no longer using, this engine is still going on the inside, creating problems and wanting to escape or to numb because we're not taking care of the issue. So, which leads us to the issue of anger. So, perspective I like to throw on anger is that anger is an indicator that there's a problem that is unsolved. So we have a lot of people and a lot of clients that come here saying, yeah, I have an anger problem. And so what happens is we go to, oh, well, let's go to his coping skill. You just need some relaxation. You need some nice music, look at the beach, just go to the beach, just count to 10, give yourself a timeout. And those things are all good. There's nothing wrong with those things. The problem is that they're not solving the problem. So what I want to talk about today is what happens when anger is not solved.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you ever worked with a client where you gave them which are great tools, count to 10, and they went, oh my gosh, I had no idea, anger solved, issues fine?
Yeah. Hasn't happened.
So a lot of the time we tend to focus on the problem, but what a lot of people fail to recognize is the problem is on top, what is seeable. What is underneath and is unseen is the pain, and that's the root.
Right, exactly. I actually was going to bring in a bottle of water because I use it as an illustration, used it this morning. You'll see that people that say that they have anger issues, they're always irritated at little things. It's like, wait a minute, that is really not a big thing, but the response instead of here is here. And that's because the anger inside the bottle up to the top has not been solved. And so anything on top of that just overflows. So anyway, so let's talk about anger just a minute here. So, and why is that an issue? Is because if anger is not solved, it gets distorted. And that's where it gets kind of mean and ugly. Because it goes through different stages. It goes through some growth stages, but they're not healthy growth stages. So let's take a look at the first stage. The first stage of anger, the way I look at it, could be called bitterness. So you haven't solved the problem. So you're hurt about an issue, you're angry about an issue. And by the way, anger could be a lot of different things. It could be codependent anger, it could be childish anger. It could be a lot of different reasons for it, but if that anger has now become disconnected from relationship, now it sinks in deeper and creates problems. And the first of those is bitterness. So bitterness is unresolved hurt. So bitterness is kind of like, it's down in there, it's making me feel very uncomfortable. It's actually building negativity. So you can see that people that are negative, they're really negative. You see sarcasm is a real good symptom of bitterness, because what is sarcasm? Sarcasm is just humor placed on top of anger to try to cover the anger but not really address the issue. Why is it not being addressed? Because that problem has been disconnected from relationship. So that's bitterness. It doesn't stop there, so it grows deeper. And the next layer is resentments. So we go from anger, disconnected, distorted, goes to bitterness, unresolved hurt, builds negativity, resentment. Now you're actually building walls. So the resentment is you are now planning on the inside to hold on to that. So now as before, you may be carrying the hurt, now you're actually letting that stay in there and you're keeping that and you're building a wall with it. So resentment is basically, you're not going to get close to me, right? And there's that layer of anger that stands between the relationship and the person. So that's resentment.
Yeah, and as you were talking, my wife, it's so apropos, my wife just shared this analogy with me the other day. I think she heard it from a girl, but she was carrying coffee and someone bumped into her and coffee poured out everywhere. And she got really angry, but at first she looked and the guy said, why did you spill coffee everywhere? And it was interesting because that was this paradigm shift for her. She said, well, because coffee was in the cup. If it was tea, I would have spilled tea. And it was like this moment where she realized, whatever's in the cup, I'm gonna spill when I'm bumped. So taking it internally and personalizing it, if I'm angry all the time and someone bumps into me, anger's what's gonna spill out. However, what happens if I move to gratitude or love or peace or forgiveness when I get bumped? And we get hit in life, actually a lot. Right. But that thought process of what is inside of me, what am I full of, that when I get hit, it's gonna spill out. And when she shared that with me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to make sure that I am full of all these positive and healthy attributes, if you will. Right. So when I get hit, I'm able to spill over and to give that out. So when she shared that with me, that was a huge aha. Another thing that you touched on that we just went over this in group last week was the power of language. And if I identify as anger is my primary, or it's a secondary emotion, but that's what I tend to connect with the most, no matter what happens, I attach the label of anger to, so I live in a state of anger, as opposed to, I think if I'm correct, they said there's 500,000 words in the English language. It's one of the most diverse languages. And if I look at my primary set of emotions that I tend to use, for most humans is like 7 to 10. So anything bad that happens to me, I'm angry or life sucks, and that becomes my experience and the meaning I attach to it, as opposed to, oh, you know what, I'm not really angry, that's my go-to. I'm hurt, why? Because I feel disconnected or whatever that is. Right. And so of building that vocabulary too.
And that's true, that's very good, that's very good. So the anger and resentment part, another way that we try to deal with that is, well, just don't be angry. Just stop being angry. We do goals in our group. So every week we'll have, each client will come up with a goal for that week. And we have clients that put the same thing every week. Anger, 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 anger. What are you going to do about that? Well, I'm just going to try to stop being angry. But stopping angry is not solving the problem. Trying to stop being angry is not reconnecting you with people. And that's what the problem is. So it gets worse then. So now we're continuing our downward spiral here, and the next spiral is from anger to bitterness to resentment. Now we've gotten to hate. Now hate is a whole different animal, because whereas bitterness, you're building negativity, and in resentment, you're building walls. Now in hatred, you're building weapons. Because back in your head, what you're thinking is, someday, I'm going to have the upper hand, and then I'm going to take care of this deal. And that's a dangerous place to be. Because all of these places, all of these phases, as you can tell, are very disconnected from people. But now the hate place is saying, I will not only never forgive that person, but I've tacked something on. I'm going to give them something else. So if that person ever gets sick, right? If that person ever becomes unable to take care of themselves or is ever in a place of weakness, I'm going to be right there, because I've got all of these weapons stored up to pay back. And that's a real serious problem, especially in recovery. So in recovery, we're trying to get better. We're trying to get free, so that we can have a new kind of life and a new kind of freedom and a new kind of love. Well, you can't do that if you hold in the back of your head a plan to use this weapon to get back at a hurt that was never solved.
Yeah, and it keeps, I think it's one of the first videos that you did, it keeps going back to this whole aspect of addiction is isolation. When we cut ourselves off of the community, that isolation, it's incredible how addiction just festers and permeates, as opposed to when there's connection with multiple people through honesty, transparency, working through this stuff. It's incredible in the light, I guess you could say, how things start to thrive.
Right. So the way that I identify this, or help clients to identify, because a lot of people say, wait a minute, I don't have any hates. I don't have any resentments. I'm good. Is underneath the line of, so I have them draw a line of anger to hate, and who are you placing in those different phases? And then I have them draw a line under that of hurts. Now, 1 to 10, who are the people that you still are holding hurt with? And once I do that, is there any correlation between your level of hurts and your level of hates? Usually there's a very high correlation. And so then you can tell right away, oh, so that's the issue, that's the unsolved problem. More importantly, like you said, that's the place of disconnection. And addiction is inherently unbonding with a non-relational source. And so to flip that, we need to actually get back to relationship and solve the issues, solve the problems, do the forgiveness, actually have the confrontation with the person using boundaries so that you can express yourself, express your needs, and deal with those hurts.
So what I'm hearing as far as actionable takeaways, the tools from this is to go ahead and compile a hurts list.
Yeah.
To go ahead and write out in the different 4 phases what my hurts are, and from there, use that to work on connection, and that's to communicate and express the needs in order to look at that connections to start working through. Would that be accurate?
Exactly. And usually what we find is that when it gets to the hate part, the correlation with a hurt means that somewhere the hurt was pretty extreme. And usually that's from the age of 0 to 15. It's that window of time when those hurts get planted deeply. It could be through abuse, neglect, abandonment, a lot of different things. But usually it's those really deeply planted issues that then we have to dig out and give the environment for that client to actually go there. But now they're not going there by themselves, disconnected. They're going there with a whole lot of staff. And they're going there with a whole lot of peers in their groups. And so it's now become safe to go and really look at that deep hurt, really look at that, why do I still carry this hatred? And that's very helpful.
And so if someone's not in treatment, then the suggestion I'm hearing is to get in a therapeutic environment in order to go through this, because anytime we expose the roots, I'm not a huge gardener, but I've learned from my stepdad who is when you expose the roots, you can actually kill the tree. And so when you expose those roots, you have to be very gentle, and it takes someone that knows what they're doing to put the new soil on, and then to compact it back with the new thriving soil. Because if you leave it exposed too long, the tree withers and dies. Exactly. And so when we're exposing the roots, especially early in addiction, that's where, okay, this hurts. What's my coping mechanism? I go on a run. Right. And so making sure that we have a therapeutic environment to help support.
Exactly. And the whole lifestyle of addiction is very isolated, very disconnected, very isolated. So get back into this is not an easy thing. It's not a light switch. It comes with a lot of encouragement that staff gives clients every day in the groups, in the therapy sessions, where they're encouraged to feel safe and to experience sharing their heart and their feelings in a safe environment. And this actually turned out okay. Actually, I can actually continue this, and then we get down to the real issues and get to some help.
Fantastic. Well, thank you yet again. I keep learning.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.